and they drove that little kid crazy. And that little kid did the Martin Lawrence, took the clothes off and ran out into the street and all of this, which they say artists do.
What really happened to 11-year-old Lil Jerome after signing with Bad Boy Records? In this video, we'll uncover shocking revelations from Mark Curry about Diddy's actions and the disturbing reality behind Lil Jerome's story. Stay tuned to find out what went on behind the scenes. Have you ever wondered what happens to young stars who rise to fame too quickly, only to disappear from the spotlight just as fast? It's easy to get caught up in the glamorous side of the music industry, with its flashing lights, sold-out concerts, and star-studded parties. But behind the scenes, there is often a darker reality, a side we don't see. One such story that brings this harsh truth to light is that of Lil Jerome, a child prodigy whose journey through fame turned into a nightmare. It's a story that raises troubling questions about how young artists are treated in the entertainment industry. Who exactly is Lil Jerome, and what went wrong? Born Stanley Jerome Childers in Akron, Ohio, he was a young boy with an incredible gift: his voice. Before he even turned 10, his talent caught the attention of some of the biggest names in the music business. It looked like he was destined to be a star. When Sean Diddy Combs, one of the most powerful figures in hip-hop, signed him to Bad Boy Records, it seemed like Jerome was set for a bright future. After all, Diddy had already turned artists like Notorious Big and Maze into superstars. But instead of launching a successful career, Jerome's time with Bad Boy took a dark and tragic turn. So what happened behind the scenes? Recently, former Bad Boy artist Mark Curry came forward with shocking revelations about what Lil Jerome went through during his time with the label. According to Curry, the pressure on Jerome was immense, far more than any child should have to endure. The expectations placed on this young boy weren't just high, they were overwhelming. And in Curry's words, they were inappropriate for someone so young. The pressure built up to a breaking point, leading to an incident that would forever change Jerome's life. Curry described a deeply disturbing moment when Jerome had a full mental breakdown. Imagine a child running naked into the streets, speaking in tongues, seemingly in a state of psychosis. It's heart-wrenching to think about. What could have pushed this child to such a state? Was it just the pressure of the music industry, or was something more sinister happening behind the scenes? This question haunts everyone who hears Jerome's story. Jerome himself has spoken about this dark period in his life, though in far less detail. He admitted that he suffered a nervous breakdown at the age of 14. For most of us, adolescence is hard enough with school, friends, and growing pains. But for Jerome, the pressures were astronomical. He also struggled with physical issues like reflux disease, which affected his voice, his most valuable asset, during puberty. Imagine being a young performer and losing your voice right as you're supposed to be making your big break. But as troubling as these challenges were, there are hints that something darker was going on behind the scenes, something that goes beyond stress and health issues. Curry's account suggests that Jerome may have been emotionally manipulated. Others speculate that Jerome may have been exploited while under Diddy's care, though the details remain murky. What we do know is that Lil Jerome was just a child, and the adults around him should have been protecting him. Unfortunately, it seems that the pressures and inappropriate situations he faced did far more damage than anyone could have imagined. Have you ever wondered how so many child stars seem to struggle so much when they grow up? It's not just the pressure of the fame or the long hours of work. It's often the fact that these kids are thrust into adult situations far too early. Lil Jerome's story is a classic example of this. In one of his music videos, Too Old For Me, you can see Diddy giving Jerome advice about dating women, a conversation that no child his age should be having. And this was just one instance where Jerome was exposed to situations that were far too mature for someone so young. It raises serious concerns about how young artists are sometimes forced to grow up too fast in the music industry, and how that can damage their emotional and mental well-being. But Lil Jerome's story is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, a puzzle that has started to come together as more allegations have surfaced. Recently, a series of lawsuits have been filed against Diddy, with accusations going back decades. Attorney Tony Busby is representing the victims in these cases, and the details are shocking. The lawsuits describe a history of alleged abuse, some involving victims as young as 9 years old. Yes, 9. The timeline of these allegations spans more than 30 years, from 1991 to 2024, and while it hasn't been confirmed, many believe that Lil Jerome could be one of the plaintiffs involved in these cases. But the story doesn't stop with Lil Jerome. There have long been rumors that other young male artists may have been affected, including some of the biggest names in the music world. One name that keeps coming up is Justin Bieber. You've probably heard about Bieber's struggles with mental health over the years. He's been open about his experiences with anxiety and depression, and he's even mentioned how his security team used to check on him at night to make sure he was still breathing. While Bieber hasn't directly pointed to anyone specific, many fans believe that something happened to him during his early years in the music industry that left a lasting impact on his mental health. Could Diddy have been involved in Bieber's struggles? It's hard to say for sure, but the timing and the rumors swirling around Diddy make it a possibility. In fact, when Bieber released his 2020 music video for Yummy, fans speculated that it contained hidden messages about the exploitation of young people in the entertainment industry. The video's strange imagery, along with the final shot showing a young Bieber's photo, led many to believe that he might be hinting at something darker. Could Bieber be using his art to tell us a deeper story? And then there is Usher. When Usher was first starting out, he spent time living with Diddy and attending what were known as puffy flavor camps. These camps were supposed to be fun, creative getaways for young artists, but rumors have swirled for years that inappropriate things happened there. Things that no young artist should have been exposed to. While Usher hasn't spoken publicly about what he experienced during that time, the idea that these young boys were being placed in adult environments away from their families is disturbing. It's terrifying to think about how many young artists might have gone through similar experiences. The entertainment industry has a history of protecting its most powerful figures, even when serious allegations are brought against them. And it's not just Diddy. Busby has hinted that there is a long list of famous names who could be connected to these lawsuits. If true, this could be just the beginning of a much larger scandal that shakes the music industry to its core. The sheer scale of the accusations against Diddy is staggering. More than 3,000 people have come forward, claiming they were victims of his misconduct. Out of those, 120 cases have been confirmed so far, and there are likely more to come. Many of the victims are African American, and the incidents in question allegedly took place at his high-profile events like album release parties, New Year's Eve celebrations, and private gatherings known as freak-offs. As for Diddy, his legal troubles are far from over, with more lawsuits being filed and more victims potentially coming forward. It seems like the full extent of his alleged actions is only now beginning to surface. Whether or not he'll face real consequences remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, this story has opened up a conversation that the music industry can no longer ignore. Is it possible that we'll finally see justice for the young artists who were hurt by this system? Only time will tell. But what's certain is that Lil Jerome's story, along with the others coming forward, is a reminder that the price of fame is often far too high for the most vulnerable among us. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our latest updates. Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. We will see you guys next time.